90%. That's the percentage of information that people forget hearing within a mere week. 47%. That's the amount of time the average human brain is distracted, wandering around, which translation, that is nearly half of our waking hours. Distractions in conversation reduce comprehension by 17 to 25%, meaning your message won't stick as well if you're pulling attention in different directions. Now, don't take it from me. These stats are from Harvard and Stanford studies on the human brain and comprehension. And if you wanted to, you could stop right now and say, you know what? It's them. It's not me. But I am guessing that you're not a podcast guest because you want 90% of what you said to be forgotten. I'm guessing you're not doing this so that only half the conversation is being paid attention to. And I bet you would love to know some keys to increasing that comprehension by every little bit that you can, which is exactly what I'm going to help you with today. In a day and age of shiny objects and rabbit holes, trust me, podcast listeners are distracted enough. And as podcast guests who have a message and valuable insights and information to share, it is up to us to help them fully engage by eliminating the things within our control and helping them to stay interested and curious the entire conversation through. So today we're going to start with 5 don'ts for you to avoid, and then I'll share 5 do's, and you can start testing these out in your very next interview. Number 1, don't info dump. If you're like me, you probably love giving helpful, useful information and how-tos. You also probably know your industry inside and out, and you have all sorts of fancy lingo and jargon to describe your work. There is absolutely nothing wrong with giving people tools and resources and information, and I would caution you not to info dump. Info dumping, by my definition, is just overloading people with too much information, too many granular steps, too many different links in all different places, too many stats, too many long-winded, overly complicated explanations, industry jargon, and complex language. Now, I love my big fancy words. I am quite a lexiphile, a lover of words myself, but a guest interview is not the place to show off your sesquipedalian skills. And yes, you're supposed to laugh here. That was intentionally ironic. Number 2, don't leave them craving the real meat of the conversation and any actionable tips and information. So conversely to number 1, you also don't want to just paint pretty aspirational pictures or propose vague, loose ideas. You want to provide real, tangible content, stories, examples, things that are concise and specific. These help people to retain what they're hearing, and then they can go on and directly apply it to their own lives and their own businesses, and they remember how. And better yet, they'll also remember to share it with a friend after they listen. Number 3, don't wander off piste and blaze your own trail. Some side tangents are nice and some are necessary. And I know some are not your fault. They are the host's doing, not yours. But whenever possible, try to avoid wandering off topic. I know that when somebody asks who you are and what you do and why you started your business, you want to include every last non-related detail going back to age 6. But try to avoid telling long, drawn-out stories or taking things in irrelevant or too many directions. It just causes listeners to tune out, and it's harder for them to stay engaged. Number 4, don't forget the listener on the other side. Don't ignore their experience. One of the biggest mistakes I see podcast guests make is that they treat the interview like it's a PowerPoint presentation or a webinar or a workshop that they're presenting in front of their boss. Don't forget, this is a real conversation between you and the host, and there's a real person on the other side listening to the conversation, like they're in the room with you. It's not just a faceless audience. I like to ask hosts before we hit record to describe their ideal listener to me in detail. That way I can use examples that specifically relate to them. I can bring them into the conversation, and it allows me to be more conversational with them. So I'll be thinking about that one person on the other side, kind of like I'm doing right now with you. Yes, you. And I will speak to them from that place. Number 5, don't forget to add some pep in your step. Don't be monotonous. The best way that I can recommend you start working on this and identifying whether or not you do this is to listen back to some of your guest interviews. Are you using intentional pauses? Are you varying the speed at which you talk? Are you providing some dynamic vocal variety? Are you speaking naturally and conversationally? This can help increase listener retention up to 30%, and it's far superior to flat, monotone speakers. You know the type. Okay, enough with the don'ts. Are you ready for the do's? Let's do 5 of them. Number 1, do come prepared. This means that you have great audio, like a quality microphone. There's nothing more distracting than bad audio. It means being in a quiet place with as few distractions as possible. It means that you have a well-researched topic and you know your stuff and you have a kind of clear direction with your stories and your examples. If it's on video, this might also mean making sure that your background or lighting isn't super cluttered or overly distracting. Maybe even your attire is a little bit more plain so that it's not distracting. Number 2, do use signals, previews, summaries. And I'm going to tell you what these are. These are some of your best friends. This is where you're telling people, you're cueing people to what's coming. So you're attuning their ears before you even start talking about your topic, which is going to help them focus in and know what to expect next. It kind of sets the parameters when you tell them where you're going to go. So some easy ways and conversational ways to bring this in are, in a moment, I'll tell you XYZ, or I have 4 simple things to remember to keep you on track. Or there are 3 things I see most often in my industry. The steps are A, B, and C. I'm going to break each of those down individually. You can also use summaries, and that's when you, of course, tell them what you've already told them. What it helps to do is help people regroup, and it also helps to recapture any of that attention you actually may have lost while you were telling steps A, B, and C. So an easy example to bring this in is just simply, okay, to recap what we talked about, or 3 keys you want to remember from today's conversation, if nothing else, are, or, my points were XYZ. This way, any attention that you lost, you actually get a chance to regain, because if they tuned out for steps A, B, and C, they now get a chance to rewind, if they're so inclined, go back and capture anything that they missed. Number 3, do tell stories and offer examples. The reason I came to this topic in the first place is because I attended a conference in which the speaker lost the entire audience's attention in a matter of moments by having them take out their cell phones. People on average remember 20 times more when stories are involved, not just facts and nothing but the facts, ma'am. So bring in stories. Now I use the story of what happened in that conference when I'm talking about how to lessen distractions, because stories are sticky and they're memorable. Just remember to keep them relevant. Number 4, do use your humor and personality. Whether or not you think it's funny, as you may have noticed, I've been kind of sprinkling this in as we go. I have a tendency to be a little bit silly and quirky. I try not to overdo it, though my husband and friends might tell you otherwise. But use the strengths of your personality, whatever those are, and your own unique flavor of humor in the conversation. It helps people to stay engaged. Making someone laugh is a very powerful form of connection. It also is a very powerful way to grab their attention, because you're letting them know that you are their people, and they tend to hang on your word as they're waiting for their next giggle or their next, funny moment in the conversation. And lastly, number 5, do make it extremely easy for listeners to find links and resources and connect with you. I don't recommend giving 5 different calls to action. I recommend you offer 1 or 2 at the most and make it very clear where to find you, where to connect with you next. For example, I like to guide people right to my website, because then they can find me wherever they like to hang out online, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or listening to my podcast. Make it easy for them. If you confuse, you lose. That's not my statement, it's somebody else's. Depending on the type of audience, I've even made sure to clarify where the show notes are and how to find them, or like where exactly on my website to go to find my podcast, things like that. So if you need to, sometimes you need to be a little bit more direct and specific. Then you can make it extremely easy for listeners to find you, find your links, and any resources that you brought up in the conversation. Okay. Are you ready for your recap? I want to make sure you got all 5 of those don'ts and all 5 of those do's, because I want you to keep on keeping them engaged. And I want you to start in your very next podcast interview. So let's go over the don'ts one more time. Don't overwhelm with information and complex language. Don't be vague and elusive. Don't take unnecessary side tangents. Don't ignore the experience of the listener on the other side. And don't be monotonous. And now for the do's. Number 1, do come prepared. Do use signals, previews, and summaries like we're doing right now. Number 3, do tell stories and offer examples. Number 4, do bring in your personality and your sense of humor. And number 5, do make it easy for them to connect with you and follow your calls to action. And yes, I am a little sneaky. You've probably noticed we've been doing some of these throughout this conversation. If you want to get started, start small. Take 1 or 2 and work them into your next guest interview, and then layer them on from there. Practice makes better and better and better. So keep on practicing, keep on refining, and finding the ones that work for you. These keys are going to help you to create more engaging conversations. You'll stand out as a podcast guest, and you'll probably get asked back for round number 2 and 3 and on and on. I can't wait to hear how your next guest interview goes. And if you want to connect with me, you can use the link below. I would love to hear from you.